That's very good. We're going now to a second segment in this interview, and we're going to be speaking about the budgeting or the money. Is that what I mean?
Yep, budgeting. Yep.
The team requirements
Yep.
and crafting a narrative.
Yes.
So the question number one for this segment will be the budgeting plays a pivotal role in any campaign. What are some common pitfalls candidates fall into concerning budget allocation?
So first of all, most candidates don't have a budget. That's the first big pitfall. They're like, we'll figure it out. Yeah, that's exactly the wrong answer. We won't figure it out, right? Because if you don't have a budget, you don't know how much money you need to raise to cover the budget.
And how much money, for example, you have to study that for the last campaign, or at least the last 5 campaigns in that place, the people used to spend this.
Yeah.
The people who win this campaign been spending this
Yes.
money, so you have a better idea to
Yes.
say, because that you said to me the other day, I said to you, hey, you know what, I have a suggestion, somebody wants me to run as an A, and you, I don't know what you did, but you come back, oh, Eva, that's not happening, it's $33 million. And I said, what? So
Yeah.
probably we was talking, or probably confused, probably it's a state Senate and not a federal Senate. I don't know, but you can, I believe, for a federal.
Yeah, federal.
And you say it's $33 million. And I said, oh no, you know, that's too much money to try to get. So in order to win, in order to make a campaign.
Right.
And when people say, oh, but what about that? Put in $1 million, right? Why that? Because that's cover everything. Publicity, most of the money goes in the propaganda,
Yeah.
to the TV, radio.
Is called vote.
Now
voter,
even
voter
Facebook
contact.
charge you for before, but now they charge you for every single
absolutely.
thing. So that's covered. That's covered the viatic of probably the volunteers, and they need some resources to move this gas, paper,
You're running a small business.
You're running a small business.
Yeah, you're running a small business for a period of 6 to 18 months. It's a sales and marketing business for a period of 6 to 18 months. You have to have a budget.
You have to position your corporative branding. That in that case is a candidate.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to pay everybody. You have to pay your consultant. You have to pay your campaign manager. You have to pay your field directors. You have to pay your field managers. You have to pay your fundraising chair. You have to pay your speechwriter if you have one. You have to pay your research associates. You have to pay a lot of different people. Not all the time, and you're not going to have all of those roles on every campaign, especially smaller ones. But larger campaigns, congressional, anything federal, you have to have a budget.
Yeah.
You just do. You have to know where that money is going to be allocated. And 70 to 80%, 70 to 80% should go towards voter contact, which involves television, radio, OTT advertising, mail, you name it, digital advertising, text messaging. All of that costs money. None of it's free.
Nothing is free. Lunch is not free, not even in campaign.
No, there are no free lunches. Somebody's got to pay for
and when the candidate has a strong foundation. I talk about the principles of the campaign, or what they want, the mission they want, the vision they have about when they've been elected. That has to be super. I don't know how to say this, but in order to people start to, for example, oh, I want a t-shirt of this guy, or I want to work as a volunteer, or I want to call my friend to go and vote,
right?
Because that is the mouth to mouth,
yes.
right?
Yes.
So, and that is free, and I say with this, but it's because a team that probably is paid is making a great job. That's in order to making love the people of their candidate, of the message and the mission they have, in order to if that person if the person win.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now, you mentioned the minimum team requirements in your chapter. Could you provide a brief overview of these roles and their significance?
If you're running a small race, Eva, a state level race, you're running for city council, county commission, a state level, state house, like your lower house or upper house. You can get away with a minimum crew, right? You can get away with having a campaign manager, hiring a treasurer, because under no circumstances should a candidate ever do their own treasury work and reporting, ever. I've seen it happen, and I've also seen candidates get pinched and they make a mistake. Typically, it's an honest mistake, but then you get pinched for it because you made an error.
And you see candidates paying their own kids,
paying
their own outfits, and paying their own hair and all the kind of things. Yeah, there is a lot of people who use the campaign in order to they don't have to work hourly in their job, right, and they want to live from the people. That's very
so in a congressional race, probably your minimum crew is going to be probably a general consultant like me, a GC, probably a campaign manager, probably a fundraiser, and definitely a treasurer. So you don't need a big crew in the beginning. You don't want to be spending a lot of money on the front end, right? And if you can get some of those people to volunteer or be low cost to you, then that would be great. But typically you're at a very minimum for a congressional, you need a GC, you need a campaign manager, you need a treasurer, right? And possibly a media consultant if you can afford it. But that's at the very, very, very minimum. If you're running for the school board or water board, whatever, you can get away with just hiring a campaign manager. They should be able to and a treasurer. So
over here you talked too about the narrative arc. How important, how decisive is the role in any campaign, the narrative?
So campaign, so a narrative arc, or otherwise known as the arc of the narrative. In the beginning of a campaign, Eva, you're not going to have all of your narrative laid out, because you have to allow the campaign to develop. And as things develop, as voters become more or less concerned with certain issues, then you tweak and move and flow with the conversation that voters are having nationwide, or in your community, or in your state, or wherever you're running, right? But when you launch your campaign, you have to have what's called a general narrative. You have to have something you're talking about, and the basis of that is your why. So earlier we talked about why you're running. The basis of your general narrative, the very core, like the earth has a core, the core of your general narrative has to be that why, right? So if you're running for school board, and the reason why is that you don't want to see your child sexualized or taught racist things, and you don't, critical race theory. Thank you. That's your why. I'm concerned not only for my children, but for your children as well. And this is why I'm running. That's your core why. And then what you do is you craft general narrative around that. And we go through in a later chapter in the book, and we're going to probably do a couple shows on this, on how to do this, because there is a specific skill set that you have to work through, a specific process to develop that general narrative. And when you go from phase 1 into phase 2, which is your launch phase, you have to have something to talk about. And that general narrative is what you're going to talk about. And then as you move from phase 2 into phase 3, and from phase 3 to phase 4, you have this narrative arc. And basically what you're doing is in phases in phase 2 and 3, you're talking about certain issues, but you're not necessarily talking about other issues. In phase 3 and 4, you start talking about more issues. Late in phase 4 into phase 5, you start talking about other issues. And so that narrative arc, you're unfolding this story, this narrative for the voters, in hopes that they buy into what it is you're selling. And so you have to, people love stories.
For example, the governor election in a big state or little state, but doesn't matter because sometimes it can be a state like Rhode Island and it's a little state in America.
Sure.
But the necessities of the cost is probably different than the ones that is next to Massachusetts or Connecticut, right? Talking about over there, because there one is the cost, the other one no, or whatever. So their necessities and their what the people want probably is different.
Of course.
So you help them to develop all the narrative to the people. Why is important here? What's important? Of course, your candidate has to know too, but you help them to build all these kind of things, right?
And it's all based on what is important to the voters, not what's important to the candidate.
It's important, and then you do the marketing to hear the people, to go. We call it in Spanish, hacemos una avanzada, la avanzada, the avanzada, but it's like you send a team in before your candidate go over there and start talking with the people. Hey, you know what, our candidate is coming, yada yada, and you start talking with the community, and you've been quiet, taking notes, and yada yada, and they say, hey, candidate, you know what, this is the things that are very important for these people, because who better knows than the ones, because the candidate can live in the other side.
Sure.
And they have, of course, if they're running, they have to know everything, but the best resource is the people.
Yeah, and some narratives cross all boundaries. And so I'll give you an example, some issues like economic issues, right? Everybody has to get gas. Everybody has to pay a light bill. Everybody has to pay rent. So when we're talking about a general narrative in your, back to your question here, we're talking about a general narrative. Economics is an example of what's called a kitchen table issue. I can talk about economics. If the economy is bad, if things are expensive, et cetera, I can talk about that. Those are things that affect absolutely everybody, right? So issues like that, and whereas more what's called, so that's general narrative, targeted narrative, which you would want to stay away from in the early stages, are targeted things like education. Okay, well, senior citizens don't care about education because they don't have kids. They're worried about economics. They're worried about retiring. They're worried about those different things, right? And so we're going to stay away from those targeted issues, and we're going to stay on general issues as we roll in. But if you do like most candidates do and completely skip all this, you don't know that. You just launch your campaign and then you get like murdered in the first 15 minutes because the media will come and ask you questions that you don't have the answers to.
Yeah, it's true. Well, we're going to the segment number 3. We got 12 minutes for this segment. So deeper into the importance of photo shoots. How can image with target the voter segment or high-profile individual shape public perception?
So this is something I see a lot with conservatives. Everybody, goes to CPAC and goes to that PAC and goes to this conference and goes to that conference, and you're married to me. You know how I feel about that. I absolutely hate going to things like this, but that's just because I'm a grumpy old man. But candidates a lot of times will go to these events and they go chasing after famous people to take pictures to try to give themselves credibility. As a candidate, absolutely do not do that. It makes you look stupid. And it doesn't make you look like you're in the in crowd. It makes you look desperate. It makes you look like you're chasing after people just so people will think you're somebody. Who you need to take pictures with is the grandma that lives up on the corner, and you need her vote. Because unless Donald Trump lives in your district, he's not voting for you. Unless Ron DeSantis lives in your district, he's not voting for you. Unless Candace Owens lives in your district, she's not voting for you. You know who is voting for you? That single mother that has 3 kids, and she's worried about how the lights are going to stay on and what they're teaching her kids in school. That's who's going to vote for you. That's who you need to go take pictures with. And when you do your marketing and you do your candidate photos, you need to present yourself. And I go into how to do this in the book specifically, how to get really good candidate shots. The key is to look confident and to dress for the occasion. You don't want to look sloppy, but you don't want to look overly, if you're running for the water board, don't be in a 3-piece suit when you take your candid photos. Dress appropriately.
When you say a candidate photo, that means the photo gonna come in your marketing?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And when you're taking pictures with constituents, the people that you're going to target, because remember up here we went through voter segments and targeting, so you want to go take pictures with people that are just like that. Yeah. Because people see pictures and they're like, oh, that person looks like me. Even if they don't think that, it hits them. If I get a mailer and has some purple-haired crazy person with like face piercings and all kinds of different stuff, I'm generally going to assume, and I know I probably shouldn't, but I'm generally going to assume she's not like me and that she probably has liberal leanings. And so that's, even if not, so you're missing your voters. That's exactly what, that would be a terrible targeted mailer if they sent me, trying to break down. Don't do that.
If I see a lady like that or a male like that, I'm gonna think that probably are because these people that love to, I don't know if they're from the left or from the right, but these people love or pretending love, I don't know if it's genuine, dogs, animals. So what about if they do the like a campaign in order to raise some money for the lost cats or dogs or
well, if
pets,
they do that, that's fine.
But it's not for a congressional or for something that is going to be for that, right? You have to be according to what you are representing.
And you have to be very careful to who you take pictures with if you're going to go chase after high-profile people, right? If you take a picture with someone like Mike Pence, who is completely hated by probably, 50% or more of conservatives at least, or if not more, then you've just given context to your entire campaign that you will never be able to outlive. If you go take a picture with Donald Trump, then you've just alienated everybody who hates him. They will automatically assume that you're a Trump person and you're never going to be able to win their vote over, right? So that's why I said what I said in the beginning of this segment, do not under any circumstances go try to chase after those types of pictures, because it makes you look stupid and it makes your consultant's life terrible and it makes your campaign manager's life terrible, because now they have to fight the perception that people have about you that may or may not be true. Yeah. And so, we're trying to introduce you, the candidate.
The mothers use, tell me with who you are, and I'm gonna let you know who you are.
Yeah, exactly. And so, if you come to me and I'm running your show, and you go and take a picture with, a candidate or a elected person, and that's the first introduction voters have to you, and you never gave me the opportunity to introduce you to the people, then you just messed up bad, because now I've got to overcome that perception, which I probably never will.
Yeah, and that happened a lot when.
Oh my gosh.
That happened a lot, and especially.
Happens all the time.
Well, but this is too. There is people who, before being running for office or whatever, they was a regular life and they hang with everybody because was friends from everybody.
Of course.
And eventually, oh, you know what? I decided to save my country, right. And then there is a lot of pictures behind, and of course, they're gonna be a lot of things, but the opponent's gonna try to get the ones that complicate your existence.
Of course.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. That's happening, and we see it every day. So over here, I got the papers, the questions, everything in English and in Spanish. Sometimes I read it in Spanish and are easier for me to say it than reading in English, because it makes more sense for me. And we got another question over here, and say over here, the branding and digital presence are integral in today's political landscape. I believe it's something like we was talking before. Could you share some insight of effective logo development and digital strategies for candidates?
So very briefly, logo development is so important because it creates perception, brand perception, right? In particular, Donald Trump was I mean, amazing. He's an amazing marketer. By far the best marketer, marketing politician that has ever been in the space. Probably number two would be Barack Obama and the Barack Obama brand.
He was the first until Trump.
Absolutely, yeah. But the Obama branding in 2008 was absolutely phenomenal. Hillary Clinton's was particularly bad. Jeb Bush's was particularly bad. And really before, you could go through all the different candidates, right? But those are just the ones that popped up in my head. You go back before that, and branding really wasn't as commercial as it is today. Today, you need a commercial grade logo.
And there is more of technology now too.
Of course.
Your brand gonna be in. If you know how, if you got the resources, if you got the people donating for your campaign, you really can make that brand big. Even in your soup, you get a letter soup, and they're gonna make it by itself the branding you got, right? So it's very, very important that.
Oh, without a doubt. And I mean, I've had clients where we branded them so well. I say that humbly. I mean, we were talking about, they had this candidate's face on everything. They put them on their shirts, they put them on their cars, they put them on their houses, they put them like everywhere. And
it's something that I learned from you too. Now that we are living in the phone era, or right? They say, I remember you say, sometimes we don't have to spend so much money in the marketing outside in the street, because nobody is looking the street. Everybody is even driving with their wheel and looking their phone.
It's true.
So we need to put more money in
digital.
in the medias, that and I will not say it's a waste of money, but it's more effective to put the money where the people is really related, involved all day. Before you sleeping, you're seeing your phone. You wake up, first you do is your phone. You go to the restroom and you're seeing your phone. So that's very important, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if not, it's money will disappear. So before the campaign launch, what are the regulatory process candidate should be aware of?
That's a really good question. So regulatory. So let's say, this is particularly true if you're running for Congress.
Yeah.
If you publicly say that you're running for Congress, a clock is now ticking, and you have 7 days to register. And if you violate that,
they can violate it. That's what I'm gonna say. You're super enthusiastic, yari, and they say, and I hear you, oh my God, no, you're not supposed to be doing that, because now, and then you have to fix something because they hire you probably after they start doing their campaign.
Because as soon as you make that announcement, you are now not in phase one. Now you're in phase two.
And now you're a public person, so people can go and follow every single thing you are doing.
That's right. And now I have to take probably 2 months worth of work and do it in about a week. And the quality that I'm going to be able to produce in a week will not be what I could produce over a period of 2 months. Right. And so make sure that you are aware of the rules on this. And the biggest thing I can say, if you're thinking about running for public office, shut your mouth. Do not talk about it. Talk about it with friends. Talk about it with families, or talk about it with family members. Do not openly talk about it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Don't talk about it. Keep that stuff to yourself. Do not, and always say this: I'm not sure. I haven't made a decision, but I'm looking into it. That's it.
That's how Mr. DeSantis skipped the thing, because people were saying, no, that's illegal because he was doing campaign before he ran. No, he was presenting a book talking about what's going on in Florida, how he's trying to save Florida, yada, yada. And then, but he never, and people asked him, and he said, no, I'm not running, I'm just presenting my book. So nobody can punch him in order to say, hey, you did something illegal, because it was not illegal.
That's right.
You know what I mean? He was just presenting. Everybody has the right to write a book.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
he can go and present his book, whatever he wants.
And everybody has the right to call up and say, hey, Eva, we've known each other for 6, 7 years now. I really trust your opinion. I'm thinking about running for Congress. What do you think about
There's
that?
nothing wrong with that.
Right. And that's all.
To see the temperature of the people.
Correct.
That's the marketing.
That's
Actually,
right.
that's the
That's right.
the warning to see, hey, right?
Yes.
I need to see the reaction of the people.
Yes.
But sometimes the reaction of the people change when you really are on the arena.
Oh, that's true.
Mr.
And
Trump,
it will.
everybody loved Mr. Trump until he started running as a candidate.
Right.
Everybody was cheering Mr. DeSantis until he said, well, now I'm running, and you see something about what's going on,
Yeah.
So, yeah, but
But anyway, don't hurt yourself by
don't hurt yourself.
tripping over regulations that you're unaware of. So that's how I would answer that.
I got a last question over here.
Okay.
Based on your sapien, in your knowledge of the campaign, let me read it over here in English. It's going to be much better. I just get a little lost here, I believe, because you got a lot of papers. So, okay, because it's around not numbers. I understand now. That's why I say, what? My papers are a little messed up. I told you that I'm so super bad with numbers, so the numbers didn't match. So I said, what's wrong here? What's wrong? But I got it. So lately, or lastly, any words of wisdom for the wisdom or sapiens. I call sapiens. You say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't know
wisdom.
if in English that the word
sapiens
exists.
Wisdom.
For candidates as they gear up for their campaign launch.
Yeah, spend as much time as you can in phase 1, and take as long as you need. Start early. Make sure that you get all the right people. Make sure that you get all the right people involved that need to be involved. Because if you don't, that tells me that you're not taking this seriously.
Oh my God, tell me, because I've been involved, I always been going to events and things like that, and I've been speaking with some strategies people, the people who made strategies for Mr. Trump campaign. I've been talking with them, with some ladies who are very involved, but they are, as Mr. Trump called, architect of his, well, I've been talking with them, with these ladies, and I've been saying, hey, when we're gonna start? And they said, just rest a little bit, because when we start the campaign, we will have no time for sleep. But that was 1 week, 2 weeks, and I'm desperate. And I would explain, because I've been doing campaigns before, even for myself, when I've been in Bolivia. The day that you miss doing campaign, when you already say, I want to be a candidate, that day you miss, that day you've been resting, is the day you need the day of the election. Say, oh my God, I wish to have one more day. Oh, you've been wasting time in the beginning when you have that day. Right?
Yeah.
So,
well, everything you do in the pre-campaign is not a wasted day.
Exactly.
That is campaigning, but it's not front-facing. It's not voter-facing campaigning.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So take the time, do the things right, get in the gym, get in fighting shape. Then you're ready to launch. Then we can go take it to the left. But don't try to run a race and not be prepared.
And don't be prepared. Christopher, now, I believe this part about the image and photo and medias, I believe we need to talk more about it.
Okay.
I feel probably not the next show, because we got already the program to keep going this by 1 a week, every chapter in a week.
Sure.
So probably I don't want to compromise for you about this, but I would love to talk more about it, because that's what the people use now, and that's what the people wants to be involved with. Everybody wants to be involved. Everybody wants to be influencer. Everybody wants to be, even if being an influencer, for being supporting somebody else. And candidates use influencers to be talking about them. So I believe this is a very, very good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
you know what I mean?
Agree. Yeah. We can absolutely have a conversation about it.
This gonna be no. It is. I know. I understand for what we was talking is part of the campaign, but it's not probably considered in the book. Like it is, but not in that part. But I'm talking about
Mhm.
influencers, make TikTok and this. Even for example, okay, if you represented Mr. Trump as an influencer, you will not come with a crazy, stupid thing saying something that he is not in his value. You know, I support Trump because I hate babies. You know what I mean? And that's going to be totally nothing has to be, because Mr. Trump is somebody who really respect, love babies since conception. He's fighting, and now one of his promise is to end with the traffic of kids.
Ron DeSantis as
well.
And
Ron, yeah, of course, Ron DeSantis absolutely. Too. You know, so for Mr. DeSantis, we cannot come and say something ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely.
Then go totally against his campaign.
Yeah.
And you're thinking or assuming that you're doing good because that's your. But you know what I mean? Because there's people like what?
Yeah.
You know, it's very hard to understand. Or well, that's what I would love to talk about it.
That show might turn into a debate, because you and I have different views about influencers, and yeah, I think they're mostly useless. And
the influencers?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, of course.
I think they're completely useless, in my most humble opinion.
No, because the influencers, they're not trying to make campaign for somebody; they're trying to make campaign for themselves.
Correct. That's why I say they're useless.
Yes, but I just was putting as example somebody who gonna be speaking about a candidate or something like that.
I would love to
you
do
have
a show
to have
about
the, you know what I mean? Even if we have to debate, because guess what, people? After we finish this book, then there are 13 chapters. 13 chapters. We're gonna start probably getting in the arena, because I don't know if everybody knows, probably no, but Christopher Gergen is my husband.
Yep.
So for that reason, I'm his wife. So as every married, as every couple of persons, we always gonna have difference in things.
Yes,
not everything has to be. Not everything has to be exactly. And that's something amazing, right? And that's something very good. And I believe I know this. Probably the book is super interesting for the people who wants to start running or considering to run or help somebody or know by themselves, because you can put these strategies for your own business too. Absolutely. Right? Because
if you want to get into this business, give me a call and or reach out to me. My contact information is actually in the book. And
the book is in Amazon,
Barnes and Noble, anywhere you can get a book, you can buy this book. And if you want to get into this business, I will teach this business to you. And you will have, if you read through the book, you are
preparing consultants too.
Yes, absolutely. Because there's going to come a day where I can't do this business anymore, right?
That's something that I get super amazed. For example, yesterday I did a training for some stuff for human rights, and I've been asking the team, hey guys, do I do this public? And the top people of the team say no, because you work so hard for that, and when I work, they assume that are them, because we're a team. Doesn't matter who is the one who is not sleeping doing this. We are a team. So they say you work so hard, so we're not sharing our work. Even if I did, doesn't matter, because that's how we take it. To everybody when they did nothing. You know, so just keep it for the attorneys who are really helping face to face to the political prisoners. And this is something that happened when you say, I'm gonna write a book about this, yada yada. And when the book is done, I said, I wonder why he did. I wonder why he did and put all your, in this case, sapien in this book. And you said exactly that. You're a giver. After when I see this book, you're genuinely a giver, because you're giving the tool to a person. I don't know how much this costs, because you give it to me for free.
It's $35.
It's $35. Thank you. Yeah. So, for $35, you're saving thousands of dollars, but thousands, $40,000, $30,000 for somebody get prepared to be a consultant.
Yep. And I'll tell you why. Because I can only run a few races at a time, right?
Yeah.
I could probably efficiently and effectively run 10 races with the team that I have. I could probably run that many. but there's thousands of races every year.
And the suns come out for everybody.
You know, and so
you get what I mean?
Yeah,
that's what I was. The sun shine for everybody.
So if I want to defeat the left, if I really want to win back America, then I should give the wisdom
really
that I have.
You really want your country back, our country back.
Absolutely.
So that's a different too. Yeah, and between a person who made this for business,
sure,
and a person who made, of course, for business because you have to provide your family, but in the same time, he really genuinely loved America.
Absolutely.
You know, in the end, we live in, but the kids and grandkids stay, and you want something better for our future. Yep. Right. Yeah. Okay. Super. So this book's gonna be on Amazon. It's $35, and if somebody wants to you sign the book, they send it to you. Whatever they discuss to you, they're gonna find over here, and you're gonna let them know.
Yep.
I don't know for who is this book, but it's already signed. I'm sorry, I'm using before the person who gonna get it. And thank you very much for this. And next week's gonna be with the third chapter.
Yep.
With the third chapter.
That's the launch.
It's long?
No, launch.
Launch? Okay.
Launch the rocket.
Launch the rocket. Launch the rocket. So everybody get ready for the next week. We're going to be talking about the third chapter. And if you got the chance to start getting the book, that's going to be great, because in that way they can start reading and understand. And when they read, you memorize some. But when you read it and they hear you,
right,
you're going to really memorize perfect what you have to do in order to be a great consultant. So thank you very much, Christopher. See you next week.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.